Every wall has a heart, and every creak tells a secret.
Have you ever walked past an old house and wondered about the secrets hidden inside its walls? Every creaking floorboard and dusty window holds a story from long ago. Today we will explore a very special house that remembers everything. Welcome to our magical journey where we learn English through beautiful fairy tales and timeless stories. Learning English is much easier when you listen to stories that touch your heart. As we walk through the overgrown garden of this forgotten home, we will discover how memories live on even when people are gone. Pay close attention to the descriptive words we use. Let the magic of the old house fill your imagination. Once upon a time, in a quiet valley surrounded by tall green trees, stood the oldest house in the village. It had a slanted roof covered in soft green moss and wooden walls that were weathered by many years of rain and sun. Wild ivy climbed up the sides, hugging the house like a warm blanket. The house was empty now. The family who built it had moved away many years ago. But the house did not feel sad or lonely. Instead, it felt peaceful and full of life. It held on to the happy memories of the people who once lived there. The house remembered the sound of children laughing and playing. In the front yard, there was a large oak tree with thick, strong branches. Long ago, a father had hung a wooden swing from the lowest branch. The swing was gone now, but the tree still remembered the feeling of small hands holding tight. The wind blowing through the leaves sounded like a soft, happy whisper. A cobblestone path led to the heavy wooden front door. The stones were uneven and covered in dirt. If you looked closely, you could almost see the footprints of friends coming to visit. The door had a brass handle shaped like a lion head. The brass was dull now, but it remembered being polished and shiny. Inside the house, the air was still and quiet. Dust danced in the sunlight that poured through the tall windows. The living room was large and welcoming. In the center of the room stood a grand stone fireplace. The fireplace was cold, but it remembered the bright warm fires that burned on snowy winter nights. The floorboards in the living room were made of dark, heavy wood. They creaked gently when you walked on them. The house remembered the footsteps of a mother carrying a sleeping baby. It remembered the joyful dancing during holiday parties. Every creak was a small echo of the wonderful times that happened in this very room. Near the window sat an old wooden rocking chair. It was missing a piece of wood on the back, but it still rocked smoothly. The chair remembered the grandfather who used to sit there every evening. He would smoke a wooden pipe and tell amazing stories to his grandchildren while the sun slowly went down. The kitchen was at the back of the house. It had a large farmhouse sink and wooden cabinets. The kitchen remembered the sweet smell of baking bread and the rich scent of roasting apples. It remembered the mother teaching her daughter how to mix flour and sugar to make the most delicious cakes in the village. In the middle of the kitchen stood a long wooden table. The surface was scratched and worn from years of use. The table remembered the large family dinners where everyone gathered to share their day. It remembered the clinking of plates and the loud, cheerful voices talking over each other in a room full of love. Next to the kitchen was a small pantry with empty wooden shelves. The shelves remembered being filled with glass jars of homemade jam and pickled vegetables. They remembered the careful hands that placed each jar in its perfect spot. The pantry was a place of plenty, providing food for the family through the long, cold winters. A narrow wooden staircase led up to the second floor. The wooden handrail was smooth from years of people holding onto it. The stairs remembered the children running up and down playing games of hide and seek. They remembered the quiet steps of the parents going up to check on their sleeping children late at night. At the top of the stairs was a long hallway with 3 wooden doors. The first door led to the parents' bedroom. The room was empty, but the large window looked out over the beautiful valley. The room remembered the quiet mornings when the mother and father would watch the sunrise together before starting their busy day. The second door opened into the children's bedroom. The walls were painted a faded yellow color. The room remembered the 2 small beds that used to sit against the wall. It remembered the whispered secrets shared between brothers in the dark. It remembered the dreams of grand adventures that filled the room while the children slept. In the corner of the children's room was a small wooden toy box. The box was empty now, but it remembered being filled with carved wooden animals and colorful spinning tops. It remembered the joy on the faces of the children when they opened the box to find a new toy made by their loving father. The third door led to a small study. This room was filled with tall wooden bookshelves that reached the ceiling. The shelves were empty, but they remembered the hundreds of leather-bound books they used to hold. They remembered the smell of old paper and the quiet turning of pages on a rainy Sunday afternoon. In the center of the study was a heavy wooden desk. The desk remembered the father sitting there late at night writing letters to distant friends by the light of a flickering candle. It remembered the scratching sound of the ink pen moving across the thick parchment paper. The desk was a place of quiet thought. Above the second floor was a small dark attic. The attic was dusty and filled with cobwebs. But the attic remembered being a magical place of discovery for the children. It remembered the old trunks filled with forgotten clothes and strange treasures from foreign lands. The attic was a wonderful secret world for a curious child. Outside the back door was a large, overgrown garden. The garden was wild now, with tall grass and tangled bushes. But the earth remembered the careful hands of the mother planting colorful flowers and healthy vegetables. The soil remembered the cool water from the watering can on hot summer days. The garden was once a masterpiece. In the corner of the garden stood a small stone bird bath. The water inside was dirty and filled with fallen leaves. But the bird bath remembered the bright blue birds that used to splash and sing in the clear water. It remembered the children sitting quietly on the grass watching the birds bathe in the warm sunlight. Beyond the garden was a small wooden fence that separated the yard from the wild forest. The fence was broken in many places, but it remembered standing tall and strong, protecting the family from the wild animals of the woods. It remembered the father painting it bright white every spring to keep it looking fresh and new. As the years passed, the village around the old house began to change. New houses were built with modern materials. The dirt roads were paved with hard stone, but the old house remained exactly the same. It was a silent witness to the passing of time, holding on to its memories while the world outside moved quickly forward. Sometimes the village children would sneak up to the old house. They would peek through the dusty windows and try to see the ghosts of the past. The house welcomed their curious eyes. It remembered what it was like to have children running around its walls. The house hoped the children would come inside and play again. One day, a young woman came to the village. Her name was Clara. She was an artist who loved to paint old buildings and beautiful landscapes. Clara saw the old house and immediately fell in love with its charm. She set up her wooden easel in the front yard and began to mix her vibrant oil paints. As Clara painted, she felt a strange connection to the house. It was as if the house was speaking to her, telling her its stories through the gentle breeze. She painted the slanted roof and the climbing ivy. She painted the heavy wooden door and the dull brass handle. Clara captured the soul of the old house. While Clara was painting, an older man from the village walked by. His name was Thomas. Thomas stopped to admire the beautiful painting. He looked at the house and smiled a warm, gentle smile. Thomas told Clara that he used to live in that very house when he was a young boy many long years ago. Clara was amazed. She asked Thomas to tell her all about his time in the house. Thomas sat on the grass next to Clara and began to share his memories. He told her about the wooden swing on the oak tree and the grand stone fireplace. He told her about the delicious cakes his mother used to bake. The old house listened to Thomas speaking. It felt a deep sense of joy. The house realized that its memories were not just trapped inside its wooden walls. The memories lived on inside the people who had experienced them. Thomas carried the spirit of the house in his heart, and now he was sharing it with Clara. Thomas told Clara about the wooden toy box in the children's bedroom. He described the carved wooden animals his father had made for him. Clara listened carefully and painted a small wooden horse in the corner of her picture. She wanted to include the beautiful memories Thomas was sharing. The painting was becoming a window to the past. After Thomas finished his stories, he thanked Clara for listening. He told her that seeing the house again brought back the happiest days of his life. Clara smiled and gave Thomas the finished painting. She told him that the painting belonged to him because it was a picture of his beautiful memories. Thomas was deeply moved and grateful. Thomas took the painting to his small home in the village. He hung it proudly above his own fireplace. Every time he looked at the painting, he felt the warmth of his childhood home. The old house was no longer just an empty building at the edge of the woods. It was a celebrated piece of local history. The story of Clara and Thomas spread through the village. People began to look at the old house with new respect. They no longer saw a broken, empty building. They saw a monument to the families who had built their village. They saw a beautiful container of precious memories that deserved to be honored and protected by everyone. The village council decided to preserve the old house. They sent workers to carefully fix the broken roof and repair the wooden fence. They cleaned the cobblestone path and polished the brass door handle until it shined like the sun. They did not change the house, but they made it strong enough to last for many more years. The overgrown garden was also restored. The villagers pulled the tall weeds and planted new colorful flowers. They cleaned the stone bird bath and filled it with fresh, clear water. Soon, the bright blue birds returned to splash and sing in the garden. The old house felt alive again, surrounded by the cheerful sounds of nature and caring people. The old house became a museum for the village. People could walk through the large living room and admire the grand stone fireplace. They could walk up the narrow wooden stairs and see the empty children's bedroom. Plaques on the walls told the stories of the families who had lived there. The memories were finally shared with the world. The house was thrilled to have visitors again. It loved the sound of footsteps on its heavy wooden floorboards. It loved the voices of children asking questions about the past. The house felt purposeful and important. It was no longer waiting alone in the quiet valley. It was actively teaching the new generation about the days of old. This beautiful story teaches us a very important lesson about life and the places we live. A house is just a building made of wood and stone. But a home is made of love and shared experiences. The memories we create in our homes become a permanent part of the building and a permanent part of our hearts. When people move away or pass on their memories, do not disappear. The laughter, the tears, the quiet moments of peace, they all leave an invisible mark on the world. The old house teaches us to value our surroundings and to remember that every old building has a unique story to tell if we are willing to listen. Learning English through these stories helps you understand the emotional power of words. Notice how words like weathered, creaked, and overgrown help paint a picture in your mind. These descriptive words make the story feel real and alive. By practicing these words, you can learn to tell your own beautiful stories in English with confidence and great skill. Think about your own home. What memories are you creating right now in your living room or your kitchen? When you are older, what will you remember about the wooden table where you eat your meals? Every day is a chance to make a new happy memory that will live on long after the moment has passed away. The old house in the quiet valley will stand for many more generations. It will continue to watch the seasons change from bright green springs to cold, snowy winters. It will continue to hold the memories of Thomas and his family safely within its walls. The house is a loyal friend to the past and to the future. We hope you enjoyed exploring the old house with us today. Fairy tales and stories are wonderful ways to practice your English listening skills. They allow you to learn new vocabulary in a natural and relaxing way. Remember to listen to this story multiple times to help you remember the new words and the beautiful sentence structures. As you continue your English journey, try to write a short paragraph about your favorite room in your house. Describe the colors, the furniture, and the feelings you have when you are in that room. Use the descriptive words you learned today. This practice will help you become a much better English speaker and a more creative writer. Stories connect us all. They bridge the gap between different cultures and different times. Just like Thomas shared his memories with Clara, we share these stories with you. We want to build a community of learners who love beautiful tales and who want to improve their language skills together. Your progress is our greatest joy and our reward. Do you have an old house in your neighborhood? Have you ever imagined what life was like for the people who lived there long ago? Let your imagination run wild. The world is full of hidden stories waiting to be discovered by curious minds. Keep your eyes open and your heart ready to listen to the silent whispers. If you found this story helpful, please share it with your friends who are also learning English. Learning together makes the journey much more fun and rewarding. You can discuss the story and practice speaking about the old house and the memories it held. Sharing knowledge is a wonderful way to build strong friendships and improve your skills. We are creating many more magical stories for you to enjoy. Each story is carefully written to help you learn English while exploring enchanting worlds and meeting fascinating characters. We want to make your language learning experience as enjoyable as reading a classic fairy tale book. Stay curious and keep practicing your English every single day without fail. Thank you for joining us on the Fairy Tales English journey today. We are so proud of your dedication to learning. Every story you listen to brings you one step closer to fluency. Never give up on your dreams of speaking perfect English. The journey may be long, but the beautiful destination is absolutely worth all the effort. Until next time, keep reading, keep listening, and keep dreaming. Let the magic of stories guide you on your path to success. The old house will always be here waiting for you to return and visit. Goodbye for now, and we look forward to sharing another wonderful English fairy tale with you very soon in our next video.